Good day, fellow South Africans. And there's a very, very interesting story that's come to light in the last few days. And I've been sort of mulling it over before I do anything with it. But I think the time is right now. And it's all to do with the wife of Alan Paton, author of the book Cry the Beloved Country. And her anger, because a letter that she penned 10 years ago is now resurfacing on the internet. And she is saying that I'm very keen to know who is behind the circulation of these emails. I just don't understand why a letter I wrote 10 years ago is being raked up now. I've written a lot of letters talking about South Africa, which were also published in newspapers. Why is this letter being singled out now? I think that is ridiculous and mischievous. Well, let me tell you something, Mrs. Paton. Her name's Ann Paton. When the shit hit the fan for you fled the country. You went back to the UK. You fled South Africa. And that's when you penned the letter. And let me tell you something else. Since you left, things have got a lot worse in South Africa. They might have got better for you in the UK because you're no longer in that environment. But for you to suggest that bringing up your letter is irrelevant today is BS, bullshit. Let me read you the story. The widow of Alan Paton, the author of Cry the Beloved Country, is angry the letter she wrote 10 years ago is being used in support of the arguments of people protesting about the crime rate. Ann Paton, 81, said she was shocked to hear the letter was being circulated by email with minor editing. The letter was published a decade ago in the London Sunday Times. In the letter, Paton said she intended leaving South Africa because of the endless suffering caused her by crime. She had been hijacked and mugged, and 9 of her close friends had been murdered. Well, guess what? It's worse today. Reality check. You're talking 10 years ago. The final straw was being attacked in her home in Durban shortly before her 71st birthday. Reacting to the resurfacing of the letter, Paton said, I am very keen to know who is behind the circulation of these emails. I just don't understand why a letter I wrote 10 years ago has been raked up now. I have written a lot of letters talking about South Africa, which are also published in newspapers. Why is this letter being singled out now? I think that is ridiculous and mischievous, Paton said. In the letter, Paton said she was glad that her husband, who became known for his speeches and writing about the injustices of apartheid, had not lived to see the new South Africa. I was sorry that he did not witness the euphoria and love at the time of the election in 1994, but I'm glad he is not alive now. He would have been so distressed to see what has happened to our country, wrote Paton. She said she was leaving South Africa not only because of black on white crime, but because of a general lawlessness that had gripped the country since the demise of apartheid. I love this country with a passion, but I cannot live here anymore. I can no longer live slung around with panic buttons and gear locks. I'm tired of driving my car, windows closed, and the door locked. Tired of being afraid of stopping at red lights. I'm tired of being constantly on the alert, having that sudden frisson of fear at the sight of a shadow by the gates of a group of youths approaching, though 9 times out of 10 they're innocent or of harmful intent. Such is the suspicion that dogs us all, Paton wrote in the letter. President Mandela has referred to we who leave as cowards and says the country can do without us. So be it, but it takes a great deal of courage to uproot and start again. We are leaving because crime is rampaging through the land, said Paton. Well, let me tell you something, ma'am. You are so lucky. You were able to leave. And things have actually gone absolutely pear-shaped since you left. And, you know, your husband with his fantastic book, Cry the Beloved Country, spelled out the injustices of apartheid. If he was around today, I wonder what he would be writing about if he lived in South Africa. I think it would be a very different title, and I think the emphasis on white on black abuse would be totally inverted, because the whites in South Africa today are facing severe, targeted persecution. And that's the reason you skipped the country 10 years ago. And for you to suggest that that letter has no relevance today is, in a word, bullshit. Let's continue. This week from her home in England, Paton said she stood by every word she had written in the letter. At the time I wrote that letter, that was how I felt about South Africa. I cannot comment about the current situation as I am no longer a citizen of the country. I now live a quiet life in England and want nothing to do with South Africa, Paton said. Mandela did call us cowards for leaving. We were called all sorts of names, but I have no regrets about leaving. It is a decision I took based on the circumstances at the time. Her stepdaughter-in-law, Margaret Paton, who lives in Johannesburg, said the letter has caused a big stink when it was first published. It's a strange thing that someone has circulated again. They're just using the Paton name to advance their cause because there's currently a big furor over crime. Anne didn't want to leave South Africa. She loves this beloved country. She just became nervous and anxious and dreaded being around here after all those bad things that happened to you, said Margaret Paton. She said that despite the high level of crime, she would not leave the country. I love South Africa too much. It's no lie that crime is out of control, but we will have to just face up to it and deal with it. I have hope that things will improve, she said. Well, again, I just make the point. I had an email earlier today from basically just an average South African white guy. He's 50. His wife's 48. Unlike Alan Paton, they cannot just skip the country and go to the UK. They're stuck in South Africa. And they have no jobs because of BEE. They are absolutely desperate. I can tell you behind the scenes, I've got a couple of people that are talking to them right now through email. But they want to commit suicide. That's a reality. And they are not uncommon. There are hundreds of thousands of white South Africans who are in the same boat, who are stuck in this country which is imploding, where they're being targeted, they're being persecuted, and now you've got Alan Paton suggesting that, well, that was 10 years ago, and now I'm in the UK, it really doesn't matter. What the heck? I'm sorry, I don't buy that. It does matter. Every white life matters. The trouble is, it's been totally disrespected in South Africa right now. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, ring the bell for the updates, and have a great day. Bye for now.